All right, we're going into the check-ins. Let's
Oh,
see.
revise agenda if
Agenda,
necessary.
Excuse me, yes, which is quite lengthy and very interesting, especially the information on Ukraine. Does anyone have a problem with it? Anything to revise?
You've asked Robin to be added about the Poor People's Campaign.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll put you in 5, like 5-7.
Okay.
5-7. Okay.
Excellent. All right, so let's go into, oops, it suddenly disappeared, check-ins. I will call and I'm asking, oops, this is wrong. I'll ask Diane to start. 1 minute.
Oh my gosh, I clicked that thing 3 times. It's irritating. It goes on, off, on, off. Anyway, sorry. Hi, everyone. I'm Diane Blaife with the Jane Addams branch. And I don't know, just quite an Easter, quite a week with the kids off of school this week. So that means that all the grandchildren were out of school and here for me to babysit.
Good. Okay, McGregor, how are you doing?
Oh, just a second. I need to unmute. Oh, I'm unmuted. Yes. I am actually very stressed, but dealing with it. It's one of those things. Be careful what you wish for. You might get it. So that's it. Just very, very, very busy.
Wow. Yes, and we'll hear from you more later.
The agenda.
Yeah,
Yes.
Gloria, thanks for your message. How are you doing?
Oh, let me see. My mic is on. Okay, I'm going to share this link for you. I have good news today. I got my editorial in the Tucson Daily Star today. It was printed, and it's about how buzzwords and hate speech especially on social media, are damaging to your brain.
Okay.
No, literally, that's not a joke. It's in the article. There are studies by experimental psychologists, and it causes induced forgetting. This is a peace and war issue and should be read because our language contributes to peace and war.
And now, do we have a link to it?
Yeah, it's in chat.
Oh, in the chat. Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, Cheryl, you're next.
Yes, so I've been to San Diego this past few days because my husband's Jewish family holds a Seder, and his 2 sisters came in, and nieces and nephews and cousins from Canada. So we had a 24-person Seder, which is always very interesting. We try to make it more of a feminist Seder. Pay attention to some women that if you've got a traditional Haggadah, the women are superfluous. Anyway, and we finally got some sunshine here in Palo Alto. As you've all been reading, we've had an enormous amount of rain, which was good, except when the wind blew and the trees came down. But today it's actually 72 out there.
Wow.
So
Okay.
good to see you all. And then next weekend, I'm going to Minneapolis for another physics conference.
You travel more than any of us Wilfers. Thank you. Except you have to go by airplane. That's the problem. Okay, Margaret, Tucson.
I can't find you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I've lost my screen all of a sudden. Is MAGA one of those buzzwords that you were talking about? Was it Gloria who was talking about buzzwords?
Buzzwords are words that you don't want to be. You don't want to be called it. You don't want to be. That's a short, colloquial explanation.
My sister told me a joke that says MAGA means my ass got arrested. So I thought, you see that MAGA on the red caps, the Trump wore that red cap with the MAGA. So I thought that was kind of cute. But anyway, so that's all. That's about the most exciting thing that's happened today. I don't know who's next. Please.
Can't really understand you.
I think Robin's calling on us, Margaret, so I don't think you have to tag.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm calling on Barbara Nielsen, who might have to leave us, but she's with us now. How are you, Barbara?
I am fine, thank you. Having bouts of hay fever, which is the first time since pre-COVID that I've had hay fever. And we have pollen everywhere in the Bay Area.
Oh.
And I grew up with hay fever and asthma, and so I've been chewing a lot, and that's really what it is. It's unmistakable. But I'm thrilled that McGregor is going to talk to us about Vandenberg and the ICBM stuff, and I wanted to give my full support to that, and also to see people. So thank you very much, everyone, and thank you for doing your facilitating.
Yes. Well, I hope you survive. I mean, the plants are always having sex. What can you do?
Rob, never thought of it that way. Thank you.
Okay, Ellen, how are you? I know you're not doing well, but do you want to do a little report? Besides falling down?
Ellen's muted, so maybe she's taking it easy.
Okay, then let's move to Jean. How are you, Jean?
Well, ditto with Barbara. This is the allergy season. The flowers are beautiful here in New York City. Sorry, this is my allergy asthma season. I didn't mean to demonstrate it, and I've been spending as much time as possible reading up on nuclear issues. I'm putting little notes in Facebook about anti-nuclear comments, and that's about it. And I have to say that I wish we could get a branch started in New York City, but I don't know how to find a momentum for it.
Yeah,
That's it.
still difficult.
you.
Yeah,
Great to see you.
great. Okay, Philip, you need to demute.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm calling from San Bruno, California. I'm a member of the San Francisco branch, and we here in San Francisco have been suffering from a slow news week, which is filled with bad news and bad publicity, and probably will produce a vigilante committee before it's all over and done with in the pursuit of pseudo crime, which is not really a problem. It just depends on who you pick on. Thank you.
Crime. Okay, that's a new category I don't like. But let's go on. Martha, how are you?
Good morning. Good afternoon. Calling in from Portland, Maine. I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to the conversation tonight. Thank you.
Good. Okay, and then I will just report that what I will report later on the fact that I went to the Poor People's Campaign session here in Vermont. Very disturbing as to what's going to be happening with all the cutoffs. I think we should talk about this. And also, WILPF Burlington is having a Zoom meeting on Tuesday, which I will also talk about, related to taxes. And we have someone from the National Priorities Project. Okay, that's it. And now I have to get the agenda.
Did we get everybody?
I think we did.
Okay.
Is there someone I didn't get?
I don't think so. I'm zooming to my printer to get a copy of the agenda, so don't call on me.
Okay. So approval of the Disarm Committee, I guess we haven't done that yet. Somehow I thought
No.
we had. That
Not
was
that-
revised the agenda. Yes, okay. Approval of the March 26th meeting. And Cheryl sent us the latest version.
Yes.
Are there any problems with it? It was very extensive and included a lot of interesting information from Gloria. Any other comments?
So
No.
can we assume they're approved?
Yes. Are they approved then?
No objections?
Yeah. Okay, good.
Thank you.
So we can go on to hot topics. and the first is Ukraine.
Right. This
I
is
guess
me.
Cheryl will give a report.
Right. And
7 minutes.
so, okay, and I'm sorry. Oh dear. So, as you know, we're a member, WILPF US is a member of the Peace in Ukraine coalition of 100 organizations, of which there is, 40 or 50 people who come to planning meetings every other week. And out of that, we have subcommittees that focus on different things. So they decided, we want to get more attention in the media to the fact we want to get an end to this war by negotiation, because we don't think anybody's going to win it militarily. And so we, when I was not there, I was in the Antarctic, they devised that they would write a letter to the 3 presidents who are involved in this war, Biden, Putin, and Zelensky. And they would put this letter in some major media, okay, some newspaper where a lot of people would see it, for which you need to raise money. So we have developed the letter to them, addressing them, saying you need to, stop this war, and why, for the reasons that you all know that we've rehearsed here. And so now organizations are being asked to endorse this, and I've asked Darian to sign us on as WILPF US. I don't know if she has yet, but then individuals can also sign. So there will be 2 different places where people can sign, and you'll be getting an email from me with the link for individuals to sign this letter, and you'll be asked for a small donation. They have Roots Action is the organization who has all the software to do this kind of thing, to talk to a lot of people and raise money with a secure way of leaving $5. If we can raise about $10,000, then we will put the ad addressed to the 3 presidents in the ad in the thing called The Hill. The Hill is a big media thing. I don't know if it's a newspaper, but it's definitely on the web. I don't know if it's hard copy too, which we understand Congress reads. So, Jean, do you know, is it hard copy as well as?
You just said, but you just identified it. That's it.
Yes,
It's
The Hill.
It's congressional oriented.
Right. So, because really, what we really have to also address is not just the 3 presidents, but the Congress, who keep voting money and weapons to Ukraine and not taking the diplomatic route. So, amongst these 100 or so organizations that belong to Peace in Ukraine Coalition, there are tens of thousands of members of all these different, we've got our 2,000 odd on our lists, and Will Beyond War has even more. Code Pink has 40,000 people on their email list. So all these organizations are getting the same letter, the same request for individuals to sign it, and then send a bit of money. If we can raise 10,000, to get in the New York Times, you're talking $100,000. So we're not aiming, we don't think we can raise that much. Anyway, so this is a campaign to, bring more attention to the wishing for a diplomatic type of solution to this terrible war. Mm-hmm. So that is, and having now explained it to you, please keep an eye on your email, because we're about to send out to our organizational members. All right, so first we were getting just to the organization's presidents and what have you, and hopefully they're endorsing it. So when it's actually printed in the Hill, it'll have the organization's names who have endorsed it. Yes, Diane.
The email came out Thursday from Marcy, and then John Hallam or somebody from
Yes,
News.
so some people are already sending. Yes, some people, depending on which email list you're on, you may have already received it, but not everybody's on those lists. So I will be making a special email just for WILPF people and Disarm people.
1 minute warning.
Yes. So if you're on lots of other email lists, you're likely to see this several times. because that's the point, is to get it out so people will individually endorse it. But first, organizations. So please,
Okay,
please pay
are there-
attention and do that. Mhm.
are there any other comments in the minute or two we have in this slot about Ukraine that want to be added? Gloria, you look as though you're nurturing something.
No,
Well,
No.
Gloria has a spot in later.
Oh, okay. For Ukraine?
thank you.
Oh, okay.
I
And
suggest we
So,
move
so I
forward.
can just,
So I see Barbara has her hand up, or?
Uh, it- No, I was just suggesting we move forward
yeah.
on, I don't
Right.
quite understand how we go from 50 minutes to 30 minutes. It sounds like we're double counting, but I would like to see what this, is it reminder, number B?
Right, the reminder, right. So this is 4B now. We're on item 4B. And just in case you're wondering, Lotus Ifong, who's joined us, is a member of my branch in Palo Alto Peninsula.
Oh, good.
And somebody else said, hello, Hideko. Oh, there, and Hideko has joined us. But we could ask them to say more later. Okay, so you have received an email, you've received, well, maybe you've seen the e-news of April about this film showing on the 19th of April, starting at 7:45 Eastern Time. We're asking as many of you as possible to sign in, to register to watch this film, which is about nuclear power, basically, although we're told it also has, talks about weapons. That's like a 70-year history. It's a documentary, very well received in Britain. We're going to be able to show it to whoever turns up. If you didn't come through us, you'd have to pay to look at it. But we've got an arrangement that Martha is kindly going to spend the money to let us watch it. So there's the registration link. And I was going to ask, my co-chair, because she's in charge of the registration, whether Ellen, have we got a fairly large number of registrations, or do we need to beat the bush some more?
Who made the film?
The film is made by a woman called Vicky something. She's an English woman.
Time is up.
Yeah, English woman. It's all there. If you go see the second link, theatomfilm.com, go there when we've finished meeting, and you will see all about the film. Okay, it's an hour and a half long.
Okay, wonderful. I will be there.
Note to everybody, I'll send an email out after we get off this call to the California core list to let them know about this as well.
We want, we can accommodate a lot of people, and we please invite your friends and family. You don't have to be a WILPF member to see this. Okay, time is up. So now
Are we
we're
sending something to branches, by the way?
I will. I think we've done it once. It was in e-news. It was in the April e-news, which gets to every member.
It's been sent out twice, right?
Oh, okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, so did we have the two new people want to just say hello? That is Hideko or Lotus. Would you like to just introduce yourself?
While Lotus is unmuting herself, the San Francisco branch has claimed her as one of our beloved, not a member anymore members, because she was with us for a very long time. So hello, Lotus.
And she moved down to live in Palo Alto area, so she
Hello,
joined our
Barbara, is that you?
Yes, it is.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Yeah, my 3 grandkids are down here.
That's a big draw. I understand.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, do you want to say anything more, Lotus?
Well, I was talking to McGregor, who reminded me this call was taking place about trying to find a reporter, whether it's local where we are, or McGregor suggested Santa Barbara or San Luis Obispo, even if it's a college or a college newspaper, high school newspaper, and radio reporters can do
This is-
good jobs.
This is for the Vandenberg.
Oh,
I-
good.
So we'll talk about that, Lotus. And somebody's got, so we're echoing.
So I'd like Hideko just to say hello.
Hi, hello, everybody. Just a real quick news in terms of getting public attention to the concerns about nuclear weapons. March 16th, at the request of the NBC, I was interviewed, and I could not physically made any trip like that unless my best friend accompanied me and helped me all the way. My body just doesn't work well anymore. Anyway, so it seemed, and it's supposed to come out in July, but I got in the NBC movie called Oppenheimer. Because they
Okay.
asked me, when my images come out, how do we identify you? Hideko Tamura or Hideko Snyder or Dr. this or that? And I said, either is fine. I don't, with or without doctor, I don't really care. Anyway, but NBC is a national television and goes all over.
Right.
And if my comments, gets in, I think it's helpful to calling attention to my concerns about, use of a nuclear weapon, because it's not a debatable point of view, somebody arguing, oh, this is this, oh, no, we need this. And it's simply a survivor saying, this is no good.
Mhm.
Will
Thank
you
you.
let us know more information as you get it?
Well, I haven't gotten the link. They're still editing it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it'll be in
Yeah,
July.
and then
It'll be on
the
NBC.
producer asked me, how do we identify you when your images come up?
Oh, you use all of your degrees and all of your titles.
They
They need to know.
Yeah, I don't even remember what I said, so I'm not sure if my irresponsible comments should be identified.
So Lotus, when you unmute yourself, we get the echo. You must be on-
Cheryl, I just want to tell everybody that the new director at Livermore is a woman. She is the first woman director, nuclear physicist, and she's in the national security for use of nuclear weapons. So she had a Common Club interview last week. Okay, you can look her up.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to move on to campaigns, if that's okay with everyone.
Right.
It's on the
Martha has, look in the chat, Martha has found when Oppenheimer's going to be released by Universal Pictures
Awesome.
in July. Okay.
Okay, that's one report. Cheryl and McGregor want to celebrate Daniel Ellsberg's week. You want
Right.
to tell us anything more about that?
Oh, yes. We're going to spend the next 30 minutes telling you about ICBM's Daniel Ellsberg week. And that's why I put 50 minutes total for the campaigns, 30 of which McGregor and I are going to use up.
Okay,
Up to
wonderful.
30.
Wow,
So-
that's a lot of time.
So Daniel Ellsberg, as we now know, is dying from pancreatic cancer. He's been told 3 to 6 months to live, of which a month has already passed. So Roots Action and Diffuse Nuclear War decided he deserved a whole week of celebrations. Okay. And I have put there in the web, in the agenda, the link to the extensive website that describes all the things that people are going to be doing. And if I can fathom how to share my screen, which I'm never very good at, I'm going to try to do this because then I can take you through. Okay, share screen. I'm going to take you through. Okay, so my screen is loading. It says, can you now see? It
Yes.
says Daniel Ellsberg week.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. I finally made it work. I have this brand new laptop. So you can minimize those people you see on the right-hand side of your screen that are filling up the screen. All right, so Daniel Ellsberg, used to on the side of nuclear weapons, and after a few years, he became a whistleblower and an anti-nuclear weapon person. He's over 90 now. So we've already done the November. This is the proposed Pentagon budget. So these are various things. Okay. Learn more. I'm going to learn. So you have to go to learn more about the Daniel week, the 24th to the 30th. Basically, education and action to honor peacemaking and whistleblowing. This is a picture of him here when he was a lot younger. This is more what he looks like now, and reminding us how he first became noticed by the public, 7,000 page Pentagon Papers. And we've been asked to share on, and people are already sharing on social media. Here's articles by him and about him, videos of him interviewed on CNN and so on, Democracy Now! One thing we all can do, besides informing ourselves about Daniel Ellsberg, is to get your city or some other organization, it doesn't matter, to pass this draft resolution which declares this week here to be Daniel Ellsberg week, and why it's important that we honor him. So that's one thing I would ask you to consider doing at your city council, or just, at your local club that you belong to. He's done 3 podcasts already about why, and we'll hear more from McGregor shortly about ICBMs, why there's such an awful idea. And so they're also asking us, okay, create your own resolution. Okay, I thought there was a list of, okay, there's resource pages, sample pages, demands. Okay.
So Cheryl, while you're looking at that, could
so
we also contemplate getting a short letter to the editor in support of him and his week in our local newspapers? Right.
There's it says use toolkit below to choose some of the ways to participate. And the toolkit below, share, read articles, share graphics, and okay. There was a whole list which I can't find about what you could actually do. So I invite you to go back to this website at your leisure and find out what you can do. But McGregor is ahead of us on this, and so she's going to tell us about 2 things that she's already organizing, even before we knew that we were going to have a Daniel Ellsberg week. And so I'm going to say stop share, so we can now see you all. So McGregor's going to tell us about a webinar on the 15th of April that she's organized about cost of modernizing, and then she's going to tell us about a test launch that we believe is going to happen on the early hours out of the Vandenberg Air Force Base on the coast of California, the early hours of the 20th of April, and what she'd like us to do about that. So there you go. Now, McGregor.
Before McGregor does that, can everybody know that the brilliant screen share you did, don't fret, because if you look at the really nicely large agenda that is in the Gmail or in the email, the URL for the website is in fact there.
Yeah, that's why it takes me so long to do the agenda, because I try to make it a very informative agenda. Thank you.
Well, I'm recognizing that specifically today, and it's also large enough for me to see it, which was very exciting when I printed it. So you don't have to worry that the screen share isn't there, is my point, because it was nicely on the screen share, but it's also on the printed agenda. So take heart. Thank you very much. And now I'm excited to hear from McGregor.
Yes.
Very excited.
Yes. Well, I want to say that Cheryl and Ellen have been tremendous help because it's almost like be careful what you wish for, you might get it. We thought we would have only 24 hours notice before the launch. Just a second, I need to fix my email. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. And we can
okay.
also see your screen where it says, welcome, McGregor Eddie.
I'm sorry. I'm confused. Just give me a sec here to fix things, okay? Just give me a sec.
Yes.
I was trying to do something and that was a mistake to try to do it. So
Are you trying to
Okay.
bring up your slideshow?
never mind. I don't want to do that. You can look at it on your own. The important thing that surprised everybody is that on February 9th, when they fired the last Minuteman III ICBM from Vandenberg, we had only 24-hour notices. And according to the people who live nearby for the last 11 years, since the arrest of Dan and 14 others, they have only announced it 24 hours in advance. I have my Google alert set for ICBMs, and I got a notice not from Vandenberg, but from Barksdale. Barksdale Air Force Base saying an ICBM test was planned for April 19th. And I said, okay. And I started spreading the information around. And then the next day, Vandenberg announced it with 2 weeks notice. So I'm just wondering if they just accidentally, who knows, but whatever it is, we have 2 weeks notice. So now we can do something good. That's why Lotus was asking if we can get any reporter there, a real reporter of any sort, if you know anybody who's close enough. Now we need to be careful, Cheryl, not to say the 20th, because Americans don't understand 24-hour time. They really don't. I have tried to do midnight demonstrations, and if you put the second day on the second side of the midnight, they will come on the wrong day. I promise. You must
I said
say
early hours. Yeah. Early
yeah,
hours.
I know they won't. Trust me, I've done this. They won't read that. Say late April 19th. Really, they'll come on the wrong day. I promise. And the launch thing starts. They usually send it up immediately. Usually, if the launch window is 11:47, it goes up at midnight. A few minutes later. So sometimes there's delays. I can't predict, but we want to say the 19th now. Oddly enough, back from the brink, prior to this announced launch, had declared April 19th a nationwide call-in to support HR 77. So that's just interesting.
Which is what?
It's on your agenda. We'll be getting to it later. Back from the brink.
Okay.
It's on the agenda, but I'm just noting that their call-in day on HR 77 is the day of the launch.
It's a happenstance.
Yes, it's happenstance, but it's an interesting one.
So the point is you want people to try to get there to stand outside the Air Force Base and complain, right?
Exactly. But you see, the reason is we're making it visible. This is not secret, but it's invisible because it's routine. Most of our work against nuclear weapons, you can't see them. And the young people tell me, progressive young people tell me that nuclear weapons is an old people's cause. They have new causes. They're not interested. So it's important that people be able to see it.
Yes.
In a real place, in a real time, because
so McGregor, can you show us part of your PowerPoint slideshow?
Yes, I can, if you allow me to screen share.
Yeah, yes, we're already seeing your screen. It says sign in to get started with Office.
I'm sorry. No, I don't have Office. I can't I'm sorry.
Well, however, you want to go to Google Docs, right?
Yes, I do.
Hang on. Then.
I just don't know I don't know how to get out of this goddamn. There we go. Sorry. I've been under a lot of stress recently and it's starting to come together on me. Hang on.
Okay.
Oh, look. You look at the slides later. The base is there.
I haven't sent the link to the slides, McGregor. People don't know where they are. Do you want me to try to find them for you?
go on to something else. Give me a minute. Just go on to something else. I'm sorry.
Okay, I have a question, and maybe Cheryl or someone can answer while McGregor's busy. And that is simply this ICBM launch. This is to test the ICBMs that are nestled in those
Yes,
different places
silos.
all over Utah,
Central America.
and so on.
Yes, yes. So
And which may be not just modernized, but replaced, as I understand it. And that's what you're going
right.
to talk about.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
The best information about this is found by Dan Ellsberg on that page where he talks about land-based ICBM. Can you see my slides?
Yes, we can.
Thank you for helping me with this. Vandenberg is located in Santa Barbara County, south of San Luis Obispo and north of Santa Barbara.
Okay, I'm not going to get there.
It's on, I know, I don't expect you to get there, but I expect you to think about if you know any media people or just anybody who is close. It's on Chumash land. It puts up rockets that place satellites in space and is key to what they call high ground domination from space, the Global Strike Command. Vandenberg in Southern California is the only place in the world that the United States tests land-based ICBMs. It's the only place because they can go over the ocean and it won't fall on people. It arcs over the Pacific Ocean, mostly ocean, over Hawaii, over and lands. They're designed to deliver hydrogen bombs. These are long-range weapons. These are not tactical. These are the big ones. Big ones. These are the ones.
McGregor?
What?
This is Lotus. I want to add, it's called the, they land in the Marshall Islands.
Yes,
and
it's coming up next.
Yeah, okay.
The
And
missile.
those people have jelly babies.
Yes, but the dummy warhead is not radioactive.
Right.
It's a dummy warhead, but it adds insult to injury. Most people don't know we're still using the Marshall Islands as a target. It's called the Ronald Reagan test area. This is adding insult to injury because the Marshall Islands were used as testing of atmospheric hydrogen fusion bombs, 67 atmospheric tests, unspeakable in the past. So the fact that even though it's a dummy warhead that we're still using them as a target is unspeakable. The protest makes ICBM test launches visible. The media will cover the launch. They will cover the launch, and international media does cover them.
How about Mother Jones?
Not yet.
That's a good idea.
Not yet, but anybody you know, I am. If you have an idea, you'll have to let them know yourself because I am maxed out.
Lotus, will you mute yourself, please?
There's a book, Bravo for the Marshallese, by Holly Barker at University of Washington.
Okay.
Good, yeah. Okay. Now, the other event that I will be doing that I'm telling you about, I am not doing it with WILPF. I'm doing it with Diffused Nuclear War, is a reunion of the surviving Vandenberg 15 that were arrested with Dan Ellsberg on February 25th, 2012. And because I did not get arrested because I was the organizer, there were no WILPF members in this group. We had 3 Code Pink, we had several Veterans for Peace, we had a lot of religious people, good
Right.
crew, quite a smith. But anyway, that will be happening during Dan Ellsberg's week and has not been announced yet. But it will also be about the land-based ICBM testing because that's what we were doing. The trial, when the 15 were arrested in 2012, they went to trial and the prosecutor, the federal prosecution, dropped the case 1 hour before trial. They did not want this discussed publicly. They did not want the publicity that Dan Ellsberg and Louis Vitale and Cindy Sheehan brought to these launches. They want them unnoticed.
Yes.
We're going to make them noticed. 11:47 p.m. April 19th. It will probably go up before midnight. Anyone who goes, tell them to read the protest policy. If they follow the rules, they will not get arrested, usually. I mean, that's our experience. The protest will start an hour before. It's usually short because the rocket goes up. Parking is allowed at Vandenberg Middle School. If you know someone who's trying to get there, have them enter the GPS coordinates of the middle school. That will get them there. And this is put together by McGregor Eddy of Women's Inter, and that is me at my first arrest at Vandenberg in 2002. So that's it. Now, how do I close this?
So while you're
Stop
closing
share.
that, I can tell you that I went on a green tortoise bus with a couple dozen people leaving San Francisco. It may have been the 2012. I'm just trying to think. It was quite a long time ago. And we went and waited at a sideline someplace until it actually happened, and it got cold. It had been very hot that day. Even in San Francisco, but you could see the launch. I mean, it is visible in the sky.
Right. So McGregor, see at the top where it says stop share in red?
Okay, I'm getting there. I did it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very informative and very
So-
important slideshow. So
I have
hopefully
two
you
of-
got a much better idea of what she's talking about now.
So I have two events coming up, one with WILPF, one with Diffuse Nuclear War, and a demonstration at Vandenberg. So any help you can give me would be really appreciated. I desperately need some help. The biggest help I need is think of anyone you know within a 50 or 100-mile radius of Vandenberg.
Gloria's put an idea in the chat.
Yeah, I have
you.
a good idea, I think, for you. And it might not be he, but then you could go to KTLA or one of the LA TV stations. This is a PR tip, and I think it will work, has a good chance of working because of the film Oppenheimer. Go to the
Right.
investigative reporter at the Los Angeles Times and tell him that, you know, this is very timely. They like timely. And because Oppenheimer's coming, we should tie this in with how the public has forgotten about these launches.
Excellent idea.
Yeah,
Okay,
good
thank
idea.
you. Thank you.
Sure.
And then McGregor, you also have something on the 15th of April. You can tell us about that?
Yes, well, that's the WILPF event. I have two events coming up. This is a program about the cost of the Sentinel replacement. In 2010, when Obama tried to get the START treaty signed, the legislatures, the military didn't want land-based ICBMs. They wanted submarines and planes. They didn't want them. But a coalition called the ICBM Coalition of Legislatures, who are from the states that have these weapons, Dakota, Montana, Nebraska, Wyoming. Wyoming has 100 of them, and they're proud of it. They're all over celebrating the new Sentinel coming. It's a welfare, it's really the most disgraceful because it's basically a jobs program for a program, something that the military does not want. I think that when we approach nuclear weapons, people feel overwhelmed. They feel that it's too complicated. They can't understand it. Well, this sucker, A, you can see it. B, it's simple. It's the delivery system. Ballistic means you throw it up and it falls. Right? This is not complicated. No rocket science needed to criticize this missile launch. It's evil, ineffective, dangerous, and the military don't want it, and it's going to cost $284 billion. They've already allocated $89 billion for Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin and all these people to build the Sentinel, and there has been no opposition, not even from the peace movement.
How about in Congress? Does
no.
anyone oppose it?
The Congress are the cheerleaders that said they wouldn't sign the START treaty unless Obama gave the ICBMs back.
That
Yeah,
was
it's not, yeah.
And when you're
It's not
saying
true.
Sentinel, you're talking Sentinel, right?
Yes, if you
Okay.
go to the Dan Ellsberg event week page, there's 2 articles about land-based ICBMs in there that are
Okay.
recommended. If you read both of them, you will be an expert. I promise.
Right,
And
it's
he
not-
says
yeah.
it simply and clear.
Right, and there is quite a lot of, there has been a lot of talk about the fact we don't want these, and that they're dangerous because the Russians know exactly where they are, and so they've got a bunch of ICBMs pointing at our silos. And this is the one we talk about. The president has 7 minutes.
Yep.
If he thinks there's some missiles coming from Russia, they'll be aimed at those silos, and he has 7 minutes to decide whether to let them off. And so
And-
they target Moscow and what have you.
And
So-
they cannot be called back. They cannot be called back. They carry hydrogen, a world-ending hydrogen bombs. Why are we building these?
Yes. So Bill Perry, we've heard from him, the ex-Secretary of Defense. He's one of the biggest arguing against the ICBMs. We have the submarines, we have nuclear weapons on submarines, we have nuclear bombs that can be dropped from aircraft. So the military has all that. And so we're trying to get rid of the ICBMs. The fact that they're actually wanting to modernize them because they're 50 years old and they're sitting in there with very old electronics, and maybe the resistors don't work so well, and so on and so forth. So thank you, McGregor, very much. So
That's
the
it. I'm
15th,
done.
the 15th of April, we will be sending you information. That's a webinar.
Yep.
And you've got somebody to, are we hosting that? Is that a WILF hosting?
It's a WILF
Yeah, so-
event. It's a WILF event. I'm
so does Ellen-
facilitating. The
But is
first
Ellen
speaker,
Thomas going to help you?
it's produced by Ellen Thomas,
Oh,
Okay.
facilitated by me. The first speaker is Cynthia Papermaster of Code Pink,
Yep.
and she's going to set the frame because she was a co-defendant with Dan, and she'll talk about Dan. And then we're going to show a 2-minute film of Dan talking about ICBMs. And then we're going to have our expert. And this is why we want it. We want to have this available so we can learn it. His name is Christian Sorensen, and he's an expert on who makes money off of these by name, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, and where their factories are. And so we're giving him 15 minutes, and then the close will be done by our own Jackie Cabasso. And she's going to put it in the context of the TPNW, of the betrayal of the START Treaty, the hypocrisy of the end, whatever she wants to say will be great, because she's able to take what the 2 previous speakers said and put it in context and tie it up, and that will be our program. We will have
Thank
some questions, but we may edit them out because it's meant to be an educational thing that we can reuse.
Okay.
Right, so-
do we have
Gloria has
any
a
alert?
question here. Gloria has a question, has her hands up.
Yeah, I have my hand up, and it's only because I want you to notice that I have something in chat. It's a second PR tip, and it's very simple, and I think you could get this kind of coverage. Go to the grad students in the journalism department at UCLA. They are young reporters. They can get it on their media at UCLA, even if it's not
What-
out in the city media. But
Here's my request.
students,
That is a wonderful idea. Can you do it for me? I can barely breathe. Please, see if you can call them. See if you can find me one reporter. It'd be great.
okay.
I cannot breathe. I have 3 events coming up, and one
Well,
of them
I do
is
too. I
scary.
have the same problem you have, but I will.
Okay, then
call
never
them.
mind. That's
No,
okay.
I have the same problem, but I will call them.
Thank you.
Okay. And
Thank
I
you. So-
want to make a
Oh, I have one
suggestion.
more comment before you shut me up. I think we
Yes.
spend all
Go
our time on our issues. You need to get the coverage. Everybody keeps saying, if anybody knows someone who will cover, spend some time thinking about communications, media. I'm done.
Nielsen for the stack.
Oh, okay, I'm going to say something and then Barbara. And connecting to the Oppenheimer film is very good. A simple idea of getting awareness to the Daniel Ellsberg week. Walk around town with a whistle with a few friends, blow your whistle, Learn about whistleblowers. Here, take the flyer and make the links. So simple, okay? And people will listen to you because you're whistling. Okay, Barbara?
Thank you.
That's
I
great.
did not hear, do we already have in place an e-alert that is going out to WILPF members? And the main email, e-alert goes to the large list.
No, we do not have an e-alert. We're waiting on various pieces of final information.
Okay, fine, but it's in the
It's
works.
much easier for me to send things to the WILPF branches because the e-alert is a lot of rigmarole. So anyway, so fine. And then the other thing was, sorry, it's gone out of my head. So along the same lines, on this 12th of April, that's the next little paragraph in the agenda, there will be a webinar with Jackie Cabasso and some other people from, this is a San Francisco Physicians for Social Responsibility webinar about where else your tax dollars could be spent than in the military. So if any of you want to find out more about that, there's the website in the agenda, and you can register there and attend at 6 p.m. Pacific time this Wednesday. So the next thing about this resolution, House Resolution 77. So back from the brink, which we're all familiar with, it has 5 points that it makes. So one of the congressmen who's working with them has introduced this resolution into the House, and now they want your representative to co-sponsor it. So there's the information, and they've chosen April the 19th as a day to get you to call your Congress people to co-sponsor. All the information is there in that bit of the website, that URL. And they may have chosen the 19th because we all have to file our taxes, except those of us in California, by, is it the 18th?
Yeah.
So they've chosen, maybe they chose the day after tax day. You know, it's all, you know, one of the things we're trying to get the public to understand is it's their tax dollars that is going to pay for all this damn stuff, and not towards healthcare and better education and things like that. So I think we're done with that whole thing.
Okay, let me just add a few things, and that is Burlington WILPF is holding a Zoom conversation. It's our annual meeting. Can you hear me? Do I look?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. On Tuesday the 11th, in just 2 days, it's on taxes. That's why I'm bringing it up here, because we're going to have tax day next Saturday here in Vermont, but we're going to educate ourselves by having someone from the National Priorities Project. I've talked to this guy. He's going to come on with us on Tuesday, and we're also having someone from the Poor People's Campaign. Now, I meant to talk about that later, but I just want to say, attending the Poor People's Campaign in our capital a few days ago, it's very disturbing. All the cuts that are going to be made to social services and rental options. And poor people are going to be on the streets. Kids are going to be breaking into cars probably to get stuff. And our governor is not doing anything about it. I don't know about your governor, but this is going to be a crisis unless there's some way of dealing with it. So Poor People's Campaign is so important. It brings up voices that you don't hear normally. Okay, next.
Is Jean, are you just waving in support, or are you waving because you
Oh,
want
I'm
to
trying to
speak?
get recognized.
Yes, okay.
I've been trying and trying. Look, why isn't Democracy Now! Contacted? That's the campus that's the largest in the United States. It has the largest number of young people and older people as well. But it really should always be contacted, because the
Democracy Now!
speakers.
The TV program, you mean?
Yes, the range of speakers is massive. It's worldwide. And it's
Yes.
on every single morning.
Is that radio or television? I thought it was radio.
It's both.
It's
Well,
both.
TV.
It's both.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, it's required reading for all of us, please.
Jean
Yes.
McGregor's going to ask you to do that, if you can do that.
Well, I'll try. I don't have any entree, but I'll try. I'll see how far I can get.
Thank you.
But I'll just do the Vandenberg.
That's fine. Yeah,
Ellsberg.
yeah. Just focus on one thing.
She can get Ellsberg to speak, I'm sure. And this campus
Yeah.
is the largest number of students in the whole US. So it
Sorry,
really,
which campus are you talking about, Jean?
City University of New York.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We don't know how sick Ellsberg is now. You know, we don't know how fast he's going downhill. We don't know if he's taking invitations. Is he, McGregor?
Dan Ellsberg has many things available on video, very clear, and they're available.
They can pick something.
Yeah.
They can pick something. We don't need to bother him.
Okay.
And the Vandenberg effort, the Vandenberg action event disaster could be a perfect lead-in to something that they could then follow up on regarding Dan and Ellsberg Week.
Well, they do magnificent coverage of climate change, of Israel, Palestine, of
Right.
Yeah.
you name it. And it is the best.
Mhm.
I watch everything on the media that I can see.
Mhm. Okay.
Excellent. Thank
Good.
you.
Okay, so I think anything more to say?
I think we should move on.
Because we're moving on to Norton's Bill and the Golden Rule Voyage. Ellen and Diane report on the sailboat. Yes. Is it in Washington, D.C.? How exciting. How is
I
that?
haven't seen it yet, but it's here. And yeah, but the picnic that we had on Sunday I thought the boat would be there. In fact, many people thought the boat would be there, but it wasn't. It was at Quantico. They'd had a really tough day sailing because the winds were horrible and it was cold and icy and really tough day. But anyway, it's here now in the DC area. And they have different events planned for the 2 weeks. It's basically here 2 weeks. So different things are planned. And they're going to spend time going to Congress and different things. So different church events, they had something at Busboys and Poets. I don't know if you know about Busboys. Anyway, it's a big thing. And so, yeah, things.
And before long, it will be up in New York and then Boston. So watch for it.
And then Maine,
And then
which
Maine.
I saw somebody write about today. Yeah. Okay.
Great. So Ellen, do you want to talk about Norton's Bill? Is Ellen with us or is she slumbering?
I think she's not with us. Yeah.
Right. I think she will tell us the moment it's introduced and has a number. So
Yeah.
the fact we haven't heard will mean it has not yet been introduced.
Okay, then we can move on to interacting with the media, improving our connections to major and minor media. Gloria McMillan will describe her efforts. 5 minutes.
I'm actually typing a letter to this grad student as we speak, and I hope I get it right. I will maybe show it to McGregor as a template, but yeah, I think that you can think of the major media. You can try. I'm dubious about all this. Listen to Democracy Now! Yes, they have a wide variety of speakers, but they pick them, and you're just in the queue trying to get their attention. It's very hard to get through to these people. So we have to find a variety. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
Try out different newspapers to see who their investigative reporter is. They may be a little leery because, this might be perceived as a liberal lefty cause. But when you're in Los Angeles, everything is about the movie industry. And you say, this ties in with Oppenheimer. this is going to get people's attention. Then they'll go, oh, well, might be a little lefty, but I'll do it because it ties in with Oppenheimer.
Okay.
So, you know, that's the kind of thinking. You have to think quickly on your feet and also go for the lesser, what people would write them off. Oh, it's just a journalism department. It's only students, but they have their own media at UCLA. They have their own little TV station, and that gets watched by a whole bunch of young people. And we're out of touch with the campuses. But if you get those kids, shouldn't say kids, those young reporters who are already pre-selected because they do political communication. I cherry picked the ones that are doing social media and political communications. So, you know, interest them. They also would be thrilled to know it's going to tie in with this coming movie, which is going to be a big blockbuster of the summer, Oppenheimer. So if you think like that, it's not just one dimensional. You have to think, what would this do in a place like LA? Because the location makes a difference. Up in Oregon, some college, it wouldn't be the same pitch to the reporters. So, you know, things like that, just always be thinking. It's a very creative process. Think about what other angle can I come at this that would interest reporters? We're not giving enough synapses to connecting to reporters. And then if none of this works, then we have to get really creative and wear sandwich boards and hang out right by their front doors if they won't let us in, you know, to studios and places.
Okay, well, thank you, Gloria. And I just have a question. Who is playing Oppenheimer? Who's the movie star?
I have to look into that. I'm a little behind the curve on that myself, but you know.
I think it's a documentary, is it not?
No, there's an actor playing him, and I saw it a minute ago, and I've already. Matt Damon. Is that the name?
Matt Damon. Oh, good.
Matt Damon. Yeah. Okay. So we got a major star. Wow. You go to UCLA, which is big into the movies. They're big, connected to the whole entertainment industry.
People respond to the star focus as well. Yeah, it's not a documentary.
And you connect that to this quietly and being ignored. Hence an opening for you. Nobody else is covering it. Connected to what's going on still. You got a unique story here. You know, what's her name? Joyce Jian. Got a really unique story that nobody else is coming at from this angle. And I think, you know, I'm already writing my note to her.
Good. Well, send them out to us because I want to follow up in that way.
Okay.
Okay. So next. Oops. I have to.
Eileen. I don't see Eileen here.
Oh, where is Eileen? Oh, that's too bad.
She did not send regrets, so I have no explanation.
Is that little 4 interacting with the meeting? No, is a report on the lethal autonomous weapons, little 5.
Would be Eileen, but she's not with us, so we skip.
Okay.
Okay, so we're into treaties, Cheryl.
Yes.
For 2 minutes.
So just very briefly, we have the START treaty, which is going to run out in a year or so. That's the treaty that actually limits the number of nuclear weapons that Russia and the US are allowed to have ready to fire.
Right.
Okay. And but the data I've given you there which is interesting in the agenda, is from an organization called Nuclear Weapons Ban Monitor. So they're keeping track of how many weapons there are in the world, nuclear weapons, because there are a lot more than the 1,250-ish that each of Russia and the US are allowed to keep on high alert. And so you can see 12,512 that are approximately, they've inventoried them. But some of them are retired, and the point is you can dismantle a nuclear weapon. All right. So this is when we talk about disarmament, that is what we want to happen. We want some technicians to, who are trained to take these apart so they can't be used in an explosive way anymore. So that leaves 9,576 nuclear warheads owned by 9 different countries. And they've calculated that's the same as 135,000 Hiroshima bombs. Okay, so those are the kind of numbers and statistics that if you're writing a letter to the editor to tell them why we don't like nuclear weapons, these are the kind of statistics that you could throw into your letters to impress upon people just how awful the situation is.
Okay, Cheryl, let me just ask a question. Don't the ICBMs, okay, one missile carries multiple warheads and can drop them at different places in Russia? Is that not
yes?
so?
Yes, and some of them probably are aimed at China. Some of them are probably aimed at North Korea.
Mhm. So,
So-
the missiles far expand from, I mean, the warheads, there are far more warheads than there are missiles because multiple warheads.
Yes, McGregor is shaking her head. She knows a bit more about this than I do. Yes, but when you add them all up, what we have on hair trigger ready to send has to be 12. I think it's 1,250 or less. Okay, so you have to count the ones on the submarines. You have to, and this is the START treaty between the US and Russia allows inspection, and that's what they've stopped doing. You know, so Russian people are supposed to be able to come and look around and say, yeah, we adding them up. We've got this spreadsheet and we see you've got this many. Oh yes, that's less than 1,250. So that's how these treaties work, because there are inspections by each country. So, and taking that away, so why are we so worried that the START treaty will come to an end and not be renegotiated? Is then Russia and the US, because we have the most between us, can say, oh, well, we're going to put more on high alert. We're going to put more in the submarines. And the 1,250 is quite enough to bring us to a nuclear winter as it is. So, you know, this is a total waste of money to have so many, because you can accomplish obliterating your enemy with a lot fewer. So anyway, so I put these statistics in there just for you, or those of you writing to the editor about various things. It's good to put in some statistics for the general public. Thank you. I'm done.
And the overall message is do not cancel or let the START treaty die.
Yes. Try to. So I believe Biden was intending to renegotiate it, but because of this damn war between Russia and Ukraine, I believe Putin has said he's not interested in renegotiating a new start. So this is the worries. One of the reasons we need to get the war finished, so that these kind of secondary negotiations on things like how many nuclear weapons everybody's got can be restarted, as well as all the other good things that will happen if Ukraine can send its grain to Ethiopia and things like that, more easily than's happening. So thank you. I'm done with that.
Nielsen for the stack.
Who is that?
Her name is Nielsen.
Oh, Barbara. All right, go on, Barbara. I didn't see you.
That's a bizarre picture, but better than real life. The other thing, I love these numbers, Cheryl. Thank you. The other thing, of course, that isn't gotten in these numbers is one of the more insidious things, and that is even if you dismantle, then you've got the raw materials in various forms, and they're not raw anymore, they've been processed, but that you have to do something with and not get killed by doing it. And so that's the other whole part of you want shiny new chrome hubcaps in your nuclear arsenal, and that's the whole not us first but second. And you have those kinds of arguments, and then you have the arguments of how many warheads, and then you have, well, okay, so we'll back off on some of these things, but then you have the nuclear material itself, and you've got to figure out some way to do something to neutralize it to the extent that it can be neutralized without killing the people who are processing it.
But I wouldn't let that worry stop me from dismantling them in the first place. I'd rather have them
that's not my
dismantled.
point. My point is it doesn't, you're not done there is the point.
Okay.
You're not just off the hook where people say, oh, well, we did X. And that's fine, but now what else are you doing? It's like nuclear reactors. You know, you stop a nuclear reactor and then, okay, now what are you doing with the process, with the product that was in those reactors, because it's still damaging. And I say it to be constructive. I don't say it to be destructive. It's just reminding people that it doesn't make it all over.
Okay, thank you. And Jean, you have a question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for bringing up the materials question, because that's a basic on the ground question and people can relate to that. I interviewed the daughter of the Shoshone chief in Nevada. I'm sorry, in the state of Washington. I interviewed the daughter of a native chief, and she emphasized how it had destroyed their culture. The piles of nuclear material had destroyed their culture because people died from it. They didn't know what it was. Nobody explained anything to them. And on the other hand, let me just give a quick anecdote. I did a presentation based on a short story I wrote that's been widely received, surprisingly. And it had to do with the first ship going into Nagasaki after the war, after the bombing in Nagasaki. And I wrote an article for Peace and Freedom, and the physicist who did the study in Germany, which led to the closure of nuclear reactors in Germany, thanked me for it. And then it's an important factor because it affected children. The seepage from these reactors into the ground caused the deaths and illness of so many children in Germany, which is how, and this took place about 10 years ago. But it's just, people relate to these smaller factors better, rather than talking about nuclear winter and so on, which is so hard to grasp. It's so overwhelming. If you get down to the little ones, that's really devastating. And I had people who had little children who happened to be at the picnic where I was doing this presentation, and they said, really? And I happened to have this man's summary and handed it out to people, and they were very surprised. So
thank you. Thank you,
important.
Jean. Yeah, I'm just watching McGregor there with her
Timeout.
Gymnastics. So here we are, we're just moving ahead.
You're next. You're next about the Poor People's Campaign.
Yep.
Oh, all right. Well, I basically said what I wanted to say, that we're having an event on Tuesday. I will send it out to all the Disarm people if you'd like to come on and hear someone from National Priorities Project talk about how the war in Ukraine is infecting our income taxes and perhaps increasing. I don't know what the story actually is in terms of the share going to the military, but we will have the War Resisters League pie chart, and this is to educate ourselves for Saturday, where we want to have something at the at the post offices or events around the state. And we're combining this, and I'm combining this with what I learned at the Poor People's Campaign. Did anyone else go to, have any of you been to Poor People's Campaign events? I don't know whether it was a national thing or not, but the one I went to was on a Tuesday. And so it wasn't too well attended.
That was mostly to honor Martin Luther King.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it was the anniversary of his death, and so people like to read his anti-Vietnam War speech. And so
did anyone else go to any of the PPC events? Yes,
yes,
McGregor?
I did. because what it was is the anniversary of his Beyond Vietnam speech. And he was
Oh, okay.
assassinated a year later. But that speech is really hit when everyone dropped him and the newspapers repudiated him and for coming out against the war. And he was shot a year later. So April 4th, not just them, but like the Peace Center here and different people had readings of his speech because it's a
Okay.
remarkable speech.
Now, I didn't make the connection, yes.
And I heard that speech
Yeah.
when he
And-
gave it.
Good for
Live,
you,
okay.
Jean.
But at
Mhm.
our session, mainly the talk was from young people who are going to be cut off from their rental and from their food in the coming months, and it's going to get very serious. So go to
This
the
is what the Republicans are saying they're going to be doing, right?
yes,
This is because now we have a Republican-controlled Congress.
yes. And if I could just add one thing to say, which is that it's been recently announced that here I am again, that the gathering that takes place in Vermont called the Vermont WILPF Gathering, the date has been set to August 10th to 14th. And I was talking with Diane Blaze about this because there's also going to be a WILPF, on Zoom kind
A
of
gathering.
a gathering also, and will it be the same time or another time? And I think things are being worked out about that. Last summer, it was the same time as the international, and for us that worked, but it also at times didn't work. But anyway, this is an event that I never really send out invitations, but people are in contact. All WILPF members should feel invited. The trouble is, I think the word has spread about it, so maybe more people want to come, which would be wonderful. There's a new sort of hostel opening up in the town. So let me know if you're interested. We can't pay for transportation, but we can transport you from the airplane. If you're taking an airplane, which of course we're all trying not to take airplanes. All right, I'm done. McGregor has.
Sorry, if I'm going to be treated as a bad guy, I won't be timekeeper.
Oh, I'm treating you as a good guy. I'm so glad you're doing it.
And you should know, we got you, it's 50 minutes exactly right now for the entire 50-minute allotment.
Wow.
Congratulations, everybody.
Yes.
Okay. And
That's
we
only
really don't-
because we're taking advantage of the fact that Nancy and Odile are not here to take their 2 minutes.
Okay,
So-
okay.
Well, I can tell you that Nancy and the PFAS project are moving forward, and there has been some funding, and they're very excited. And National WILPF is happy to support it. Philip may know something more than that about it too. But
What's it? What is it?
the PFAS,
What does
What
it
is
stand
The
for?
PFAS?
What does it
nasty
stand for?
chemicals.
the terrible chemicals that the military use. That's
PFAS.
Nancy and Earth Democracy.
Yes, and in Vermont,
Yes.
Marguerite Edelman, maybe some of you know her. She is out there on the campaign trail talking about this. She's doing a wonderful job.
Yes, and they're able to be a little more intense in what they're doing because they've been received some funding that we were happy to have happen. So I just wanted you to know that that's the mitigating the effects of militarism on the environment that is being done in that project is going forward, and they were very excited about it. So we should be too in this committee.
Okay.
Right, so maybe we'll get Nancy, we'll send out some kind of message that will include Disarm about it.
That would be great. Yeah,
Mhm.
we could ask her to do that.
Right.
Odile is not here, but I've been on calls with Odile about Yemen, and I can give a short report because important things are happening.
Okay. Very
Please.
This is
short, please.
on Odil's behalf. She was great. Anyway, there have been breakthroughs in Yemen thanks to China's world leadership. China got Iran and Saudi Arabia to restore diplomatic relationship, and the rest of the world is full of admiration. Since Iran is the one arming and provoke the Hutus, and Saudi Arabia is the one, it's very important that these two parties, the situation in Yemen, although there haven't been airstrikes for 10 months, the sanctions are keeping the food out, and they say a child dies every 75 seconds. And the United Nations, which is not given to hyperbole, said it's the worst humanitarian crisis on the planet. And it's dreadful. But China's intervention has helped get the two parties, and there may be some progress for peace. We need to lean on our cowardly Democrats who bravely passed a war powers resolution to stop aid to the Saudis when Trump was president, because they knew he would veto it. So those cowards could look good, and not one single one of them will introduce a war powers now that Biden is president. It only takes one of them to introduce it, and they could stop this in Yemen. So I'm pretty mad at the Democrats. So thank you. That's what I hope Ideal agrees with my report.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
Diane, you should, Diane, in the minutes, try to capture what McGregor just told us, please.
Yeah, I've been reading about it. Plus, I just wanted to announce that the Jane Addams branch for the May meeting is going to have Marguerite Edelman. And I think we'll open it up to all WILF members, because that would be just to try to get enough people to respond. She wants RSVPs, and then she wants to know where people live so that she can do work on their area.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
I hope to tune in. I haven't heard her myself, and I'm her neighbor. Okay. Can we move on? Are we going to hear a treasurer's report?
So, Ellen, are you there?
And then Ellen's not with us, and usually there's no change there. So can we move to Mark?
I would like to use the $300 for the Vandenberg demonstration.
How are you, what do you think you're going to spend it on?
I want to reimburse expenses if we can get a person to come out and film it. And I would like to use 100 for my motel room at the Motel 6. Notice the 100 for the motel and 200 for expenses for video. That's the whole 300.
So this is aside from trying to get a reporter there. You are looking for a videographer who will record as video the demonstration, and then that will be available to show later.
Yes, well, I'm hoping to get somebody young and smart from Santa Barbara College with an iPhone. They can do this, who will film it and then send it to all the platforms.
Are you talking about UC Santa Barbara?
No, I was actually talking about Santa Barbara City College, because we have a person there named John Poland, who's a musician and progressive. And not Poland, John Douglas. Sorry, John Douglas. I'm sorry. So many people. John Douglas is a music instructor at Santa Barbara City College.
I did not know that they were there.
I did not. I've never made a dent in UC Santa Barbara. We've never had one student from there come. If anyone knows anybody at UC Santa Barbara, they never come to Vandenberg. They don't even talk about it. Maybe it's too close. They're embarrassed. I don't know. Does anyone know anyone who teaches or goes to UC Santa Barbara?
No, but I can look into it.
Yeah, but City College, if I can get a student and reimburse their expenses and they can get it onto the platforms. Code Pink has a person that's good at multi-platform. If you get the data to them, they'll post it on everything from Instagram to things you've never heard of, which I would like to utilize, because I'm not going to learn that. I'm learning Zoom, but I'm too old to learn that.
Okay, so, are you asking us to vote on?
No, we already voted on this some meetings ago that maybe you weren't here, Barbara. We had already authorized up to $300
I
from our
didn't,
account
I
for,
did not
for
see
McGregor.
notice. I did not see notice on this agenda, so I apologize.
Okay,
Well,
so.
it's not, yes, because it's authorized already from a
Yeah,
previous meeting.
It's
Now,
kind of
is-
triggered when they set up the launch.
Well, it's a great idea. I mean, I thank you so much for getting that in motion.
Now, let me ask, as a moderator, is that money coming from a Disarm account or from WILPF?
Disarm account.
Excellent,
Mhm,
okay.
mhm, mhm. And then we also authorized last time that when Ellen will be going to the ANA meeting in DC to help record that and help with their Zoom and everything, we've authorized that she'll be driving to DC, that we've authorized we will help pay for her vehicle expenses and the registration at the Alliance for Nuclear Accountability that's coming up towards the end of this month. So so those are two things because that we've already authorized out of our account, which is typically over $2,000 dollars has been.
So we're not giving her any funds to spend to stay someplace.
She has somewhere to stay that's not going to cost her anything.
Awesome.
So she just asked for vehicle and the registration fee
For the
because the registration fee, if you should be going to DC for this event, often contains some food. They provide some meals and stuff.
Right.
For those people who actually turn up.
Okay. Oh, that's
Okay.
a great use of funds. I mean, she's been very central in that effort.
And then we'll hear about it. You know, she will also make some reports to us. Possibly, I don't know about. She'll be ready on the 30th. Remember, the next meeting is the 30th of April. I don't see Margot here. Am I right? Margot isn't here either.
No.
No. So we skip over her item on the agenda.
Okay. And the only thing left is date for next Disarm committee meeting.
On last Sunday.
Last Sunday, yes, at the end of April.
Yes, April is a 5 Sundays month. So gives us 3 weeks to do the minutes and everything. I'm always happy when I've got 3 minutes between meetings. And in between, I shall be going to Minneapolis for my physics conference. Only 2,000 physicists this time. The one in Las Vegas, we had 12,000 physicists. So,
well, I'll be very glad to move that we have the meeting on the 30th.
Right. Well,
good. And I hope everyone will go out and buy their whistles so they can do whistle or action. Right? I don't know how much they cost or even where you buy them. I mean, where do you buy whistles? Anyway.
I usually from a hiking store. I have a whistle for when I go hiking in case I fall down somewhere, I need to call attention. So REI and places like that have very good whistles.
Okay, very good advice, but probably cheaper at a toy shop.
And sometimes Walgreens has them, believe it or not.
Okay. All right. Any more?
I want to make a final statement. I just want to say that this last time since the last meeting has been very intense and a little scary for me. And I want to tell you that I feel tremendous support, understanding, comprehension, offers, and solidarity from this meeting. And it makes all the difference in the world.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your involvement, because it is personalized. It is brought to the fore this disaster of the ICBMs and then this test that is happening. I mean, you would think young students would like to come. I mean, this is like fireworks in the middle of the night to come and view something like this. So I think it could be made attractive to some journalists.
In a scary way.
Yeah.
So Martha is asking how we get the money to McGregor. I think McGregor probably has to submit some receipts to Ellen.
Just send me Ellen's address, not on this, but private, because that shouldn't be private. Send me Ellen's address. I have the receipts from my last trip, and this one will be I have my receipts from the Motel 6 from the last trip, so it's basically the same. But I'll send, just give me an address.
Right, I'll send it. I'll send it to you privately.
Yeah.
Okay, and save the chat if you want this
Yes,
information.
please, everybody save the chat because Gloria's been working on graduate students, journalism graduate students while we've been meeting. She's multitasking. Well done. And we'll see if any of them take the bait to come out to the Vandenberg and do some
Okay.
on the spot.
Thank you,
reporting.
Gloria. That was wonderful. Yay.
Yeah, that was great.
And can you forward your letter so that we can plagiarize it and use it?
The letter's in the chat, but I will forward one of them. I'll forward the later one that includes, if I had thought of it, I added McGregor's bit about contact her that possibly, I didn't say a number or amount. There might be a little stipend, you know, if you come.
Oh,
So I said might, and I didn't give an amount, so.
That
don't
well,
mention
that's-
that. Please don't
If they're going to
mention that.
videotape it, she wants somebody to with an iPhone, a good iPhone
Oh,
to
okay.
videotape it.
But
Yeah.
but
I'll
don't
pay
mention
I'll
the
pay
money.
for the stipend. Don't get your knickers in a twist about $100. I'll pay them.
Yeah. And Hideko, by all means, give them all of your credentials. They should use
Yeah.
every single one.
Right. Only
In
two
the-
of them got that part. The other two, I didn't even think of it, so, but it's not a biggie.
All right. Well, thank you
all.
everybody for coming.
Okay.
And I know Joan Goddard sent her regrets. She has a family thing. I understand it's Easter Sunday. I hope you all got an Easter egg this morning or an Easter bunny, a chocolate bunny. I've got one to share with my husband. So we celebrate Passover and Easter. You know, we get all the
good.
holidays.
Twice as much candy.
Right.
Yeah, I put out about 50 eggs this morning.
Yeah, and chocolate is not forbidden at Passover, thank goodness. So
Uh,
Right.
we can eat as
okay.
much chocolate as we like. All right, so everybody save
Thanks,
the chat.
everyone.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. I'm
Bye-bye.
going to close the meeting.
Bye.
I'm going to end because I'm in charge today. Okay,
Let's
save the
try-
chat.
Oh,
Last
one fast thing. Do you want me to send the letter to you, the model letter, and then you can include it with the minutes?
I'd love to see a copy of it. Yeah. So
So-
that was
Sooner
great.
sooner rather than later.
Okay.
Sooner.
You
So
should send
want
it.
to-
Send it
it's
to the
in the
Disarm
chat.
discussion list.
It's in the chat, but if you didn't see it in the chat, the letter is in the
I'm
chat.
looking in the chat. I don't see it.
It's up
It is
here.
there. It is there. Dear Miss
Okay.
Jiang, I am from the oldest women's peace group, etc.
You can change it, you know, as needed.
Yeah. So if somebody has time, they could copy and paste this into a message that goes to the Disarm discussion dot.
Well, I can just send it. One of the
Right.
posts that I sent out, I'll send it to
Right.
you. Okay.
Okay.
And in
All
the
right.
discussion and to explain it's a template for contacting
Okay. Oh, yeah.
young
Right.
journalists.
Sure.
Goodbye,
As-
everybody. Thank you
all
again.
right.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.
All right, so Diane, I'm
Good job.
assuming that this has been recorded, and so Ellen, when she has time, will send you the link. So you were the note taker, which means you're going to make some notes, and then and you'll send those to me, and I will, burnish them into minutes. So that's usually what happens. Right, so I got you right, Diane. You're the note taker, right? Yes, thank you. And I see Ellen's smiling face there, but she's probably stepped away with her having fallen over all this stuff. Yes, you have to be really careful these days. Things sticking out behind trailers, and I sat on one of those, the thing that comes up in the seat that you click your seatbelt into, and it just got my tailbone, and it still hurts 2 days later. So
Excuse me, while we're still on, I don't see anything about the ICBM on this chat. Where is
okay,
it?
if you scroll up.
I see Gloria McMillan. I see
Yeah,
her.
no, scroll up.
I am
Scroll
way
up.
up. I
Way
am
up,
way
and then it says, Gloria, dear Miss Yang. Jiang. It's about halfway up.
Oh, halfway up. Okay. I see Oppenheimer.
Now go down now, down from there. And then it starts Gloria to everyone at 5:56 p.m.
Okay, I was up too far. 5:56. Okay.
That's my
I
time.
see it goes 4:30 and then it jumps to 7:37 because we're
Yeah,
in
well, it's
different
your
time zone.
time. It'll show differently because
Yeah.
you're in the East Coast. So
Well, I see Gloria McMillan,
several times. Yeah.
but hers
that-
is about the
No,
two.
no. She has put in the chat quite a few different things. So you just have to keep scrolling up and down till you find the dear Ms. Jiang.
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, I'll keep trying.
But if
I
you
see
save the
Tucson.
chat,
I see Tucson.com.
yes. So you need to save the chat and then it'll save on your computer in a special Zoom file. And then you can download it from there.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to do, save it.
Right,
Unfortunately,
so
I also have a new computer and so I'm struggling to learn it.
to find out where the hell it is, yes.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll keep struggling. Thank you.
All right, Jean, thank you. And another thing that we'll be talking about soon, I hope, is as you're in New York City, I'm going to mention it, is the second meeting of the states parties of the TPNW will be in November in New York City at the UN.
Well, that's important.
And so I'm hoping we can get a delegation together from
Good.
WILPF to attend much in the same way we attended the non-proliferation review.
Okay, well, I'll put that down as something to be alerted to. Thank you.
Right. And you're already there.
Yes.
It costs you a lot less money
It
than
does.
it does us
Very
to get
true.
to these things. All right. Thank you very much for
Thank
coming.
you.
And I'm going to end the meeting and then Ellen will find the recording. I hope it all is there and my ending will just end the recording is what I'm assuming.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks very much. See,
Bye.
bye-bye. Bye-bye.